Hey everyone, hope you are having a great day. It's a beautiful Tuesday, and actually, I woke up this morning. I thought it was Wednesday, so I've got an extra day in the week. I just hope you have a great day and that you can experience the power and the presence of God in your life. Um, we were on 1 Corinthians chapter 2 yesterday. I am jumping all the way to 1 Corinthians chapter 9. We are skipping chapters 3 through 8. Not that they're not important, but I'm looking for me, what I find as part of the blessing. And as I read Paul's words in the scripture I want to read today is from 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 19 through 23. And it's one of the first scriptures that I learned when I was in seminary. First class I took was on evangelism, and this is one of the passages that was on the board the first day in class. And I thought, man, this is a great passage. I want to do this. I want to be this. So let me read you the passage from Paul. It's in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 19 to 23. Paul said, "For though I am free from all, I have made myself a servant to all, that I might win more of them. To the Jews, I became as a Jew in order to win the Jews. To those under the law, I became as one under the law, though not being myself under the law, that I might win those under the law. To those outside the law, I became as one outside the law, not that being outside the law of God, but under the law of Christ, that I might win those outside the law. To the weak, I became weak, that I might win the weak. I have become all things, and this is what really struck me. I have become all things to all people, that by all means I might save some. I do it all for the sake of the gospel, that I might share with them in its blessings." Now, to the Jew, Paul became as the Jew. To those under the law, he became like those under the law. To those who were slaves, he became like them. To those who were Greek, he became like them. To the weak, he became like them. How do you become all things? Which is what struck me. How do I become all things to all people? And so I said, I'm going to be all things to all people. And then I realized I couldn't. And it was okay. But I also misunderstood what Paul was saying. And when we misunderstand Scripture and we try to follow Scripture, that really makes it difficult to follow. So what Paul is saying, because the people were struggling, there were so many divisions and so much dissension, so much misunderstanding in Corinth, that Paul is saying, for those who don't know the law, I'm going to help them and help them to understand. And I'm not going to become someone who's not under the law, but I'm going to help them to understand what that means. To those who are filled with, I've got to follow the law, I've got to dot my I's, I've got to cross my T's. If I want to be a follower of Jesus, I still need to be a Jew. Paul wanted to help them understand what that means. To the weak, he wasn't going to become weak, because in the next verses we're going to read, there's a shift. But to the weak, Paul wasn't going to just expound knowledge and talk like someone who has 5 doctorates. He was going to speak on their level. So how can we, as followers of Christ, help everyone? How can we be all things to all people? Not that we compromise Christ, but to someone who doesn't know Jesus, how do we help them to know Jesus? To the person who is a legalist, how do we help them to know Jesus in a way that makes more sense? It doesn't mean that we start to swear like people who swear, or we fall into sexual immorality like people who we're trying to witness to. But we do, and I don't want to say we come down to someone's level, but we never make ourselves more than who we are. I think that's an important point that Paul makes in a number of his writings. He talks about humility a number of times, and I think that's an important point. We become all things to all people, but we do it in a way that's honoring God. We never compromise the gospel. We never compromise who Jesus is, but we lift him up, and we do all we can to show the world who Jesus is. So just a thought, a scripture that really impacted me early on when I was just starting seminary. that I wanted to become all things to all people, but I went about it all wrong. And that became an impossible task for me. And then I understood it better. And so hopefully it helps you to understand a little bit better of what Paul's saying so that we can be all things to all people and help lead all people to know Jesus. As he says in verse 23, I do it all for the sake of the gospel, that I could share in its blessings with others. Have a great day and God bless you.